My name is Keen Decker, and I'm here to invite you to an evening not like most others. An evening where 4 streamers are pitted up against one another in hopes for fame and fortune.
Nicolite A, sound off! Nicolite A, sound off! Here! Nicolite B, sound off! Here! Nicolite C, sound off! Here! Here! Nicolite D, sound off! Nicolite D, report! Sound off!
Barricade 4 is falling, Sergeant! Barricade 4, it's crumbling!
Steely, you and your brother fill in the flank at Nicolite D! Where is your brother, soldier? What are you doing just standing there? It's time to get your ass in gear and stop fucking around! Get going now! What? Ash? What the fuck is that?
My name is Keen Decker, and I'm here to invite you to an evening not like most others. An evening where 4 streamers are pitted up against one another in hopes for fame and fortune. Will one streamer rise to the top and unlock fortunes like no other? Or will they all fall victim to the horrors of Marth's dungeon?
I hope you die first.
What? No, there's no one dying! Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Marth's Dungeon. We're here with the gang. It's you, me, and the entire gang here, and we're right on time. Nobody's late. We're not 6 minutes late. You're late. Anyways, Mr. Beichel, would you like to give us the recap of not even last week, but the week before's episode?
Well, he can give the one for last week, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the recap for last week is
Brilliant. Thank you, Michael.
and the recap for the week before that is so I'll do it in order because there's a lot of the classic Soliet jump cuts. So I'll just do it. I'll say for the first one, we start off with Pivot oiling up and doing the worm shaker. If you are confused, good. Go watch it.
You'll wish you didn't.
Yeah, you'll wish you didn't, but you can't understand unless you do. So
confusion only enhances the experience.
And then after doing the worm shaker and mogging the people there, literally, he then goes and plays darts with an old man. In which case, he proceeds to berate. Use fucking CIA secret tactics and gaslighting to win. And Slythe plays a fat dude in a game of pool. Or basically pool. After that, they talk to the demonetizer, which is 100% not just an outlet for Keen to vent about YouTube's shitty TOS.
Of course.
Not even a little bit.
He's pretty cool. He gets one taps by Slythe. And that's about it for the bar there. We find out that the kid is Renthal. That's interesting. Renthal, the very well-adjusted individual from Soliet's backstory.
Well,
let's see. Let's go to the memories part. Memories is Tim's Tim's introduction to Soliet. Basically how he came to be, how Soliet kind of decided, let's put him in the basement forever, or not even the basement, put him in the forge forever, and lock him up there. Other jokes cannot say on YouTube, at least for another hour.
Oh no.
But yeah, fun times. We actually had a script for that one, so that's some proper cinema. Meanwhile, Marth is voring Soliet again on the in the memories. Honestly, I think that's all that happens there pretty much, except for like him like not rolling a nat 20. Once again, context needed. Go watch it. Also, in Soliet's memory, I believe it shows Aegir, the dragon, in Tim's backstory, dying.
Yep.
And let's see. In the actual battlefield, so Thames tosses look down something called a Preslith key. The assumption was that it was a kind of master key. It is, a skeleton key. However, it also turns the door into a portal to a random place. And it just so happens that they chose, or ended up with rather, the most isolated place in the entirety of the map. A place where they should not be. Also, like, a land entirely full of, like, godlike beings. Which, Max belongs there, Look Down doesn't.
What the fuck?
Hey.
Real.
Don't say the quiet word out loud, dude. Fuck, that hurts.
But, they're chilling there. You'll probably see a little bit of that here soon. They unfortunately got off-screened in the first 10 minutes of the combat, which happened within the first 30 minutes. But yeah, it kind of carries on a little. Thames gets owned by a death laser after using the Ring of Resting Favor to take a long rest. And then he calls down Forfodin, who revokes his own divinity to fight the Husk Dragon with Thames. Does a fuck ton of damage and then dies. The consequences of which, probably not that bad, right?
Right.
Not too bad, Let's see. After all that, we go back to the game show. Pivot walks down a not Star Wars, you can't say that hallway. Copyright-free wars that happen in space. Hallway.
Sci-fi hallway.
Yep. And then realizes slowly that the brain rot he cannot escape. And realizes that it is in fact Boba Fett, the e-girl streamer. And yeah, I don't want to dwell on that one too much.
Mercifully, it does not proceed further than that realization.
Yep. And to end off the recap, to kind of put us directly where everyone is.
Yep.
The party, or I would say like a mixture of like mainly Forfodin dying but doing a fuck ton of damage, causes the Husk Dragon to turn into Soliet proper, kind of leading to phase 2 of the boss fight. And they get Marth and Pivot. I think I'm forgetting someone here.
No, you're not. Don't worry. You're not.
Yeah, Slythe. Slythe got kicked out of the dragon. And they are currently here, probably covered in spit, smelling pretty nasty.
Beautiful recap. Let's go. Chat. 10 out of 10. That's what that is right there. 10 out of 10, baby. So yes, as things last left off, Look Down and Maxwell both went through the door with the Preslith key, and we are going to start off with you two. What's up?
The fuck?
Exactly. It's a whole lot of what the fuck. You stepped through the door, and as you do, you kind of just instantly morph through into a completely different landscape. You don't drop. You see kind of directly behind you a just kind of like a warp in the fabric of like the normal space that you're in open up and close. From behind you, you can see the Soviet fight, and as you step out, it closes up. And you land in a gigantic circle. And as you kind of let your feet touch the ground, you feel the clap of your shoes against solid glass. And this glass is probably about 100 feet thick. You can see directly through it and down into an area deep, deep below. And Maxwell kind of falls over himself on the way out.
Where the fuck are we?
Is this more of her stuff?
And Maxwell looks like directly down through the ground here and sees like he has that feeling of instant vertigo of when you're really, really high up and you do not like heights. And Maxwell kind of jumps back and he's like, no, I don't think so. Oh, God, I feel sick to my stomach. And he kind of looks around and he sees all the very colorful trees.
I think we just need 3 tickets.
Wait, what do you mean 3 tickets? Yeah, I need a ticket, all right. I need a ticket right out of wherever the fuck this is.
That's what they're for.
What do you mean by that?
Before I got here, we had to play 2 things to get tickets.
Oh, I got you. Inside the, the mental dungeon.
Yes, I guess.
Yeah, how was that, by the way? I hate to admit it, but I spent a good many years of my life doing stuff like that. It kind of gets to you after a while. It's kind of weird, huh?
Lots of bad.
Yeah. Definitely saw a lot of bad things in the moral sense and the you ever see something with your eyes that you feel like you're just not meant to see?
Yes.
Yeah, there's like a term for it, I think. It's like, it's like SMV, I think. Unnatural things that just make your mind feel like they're kind of melting away a little bit.
Well, I think I'm used to that.
And he kind of just like pats you on the back really quickly and then looks through the ground and he's like, oh,
but seriously, oh my god, I don't want to be here anymore. We should probably get out.
How do we get back?
Look down. As you say this, 2, I want to say, proper way to describe this would be formless beings that are kind of constantly shifting around. They materialize from the glass itself, and they probably stand maybe about 4 foot high. The shape of them that kind of constantly shifts around usually forms back to something that looks like it is holding a bow. And they circle around you.
Hi.
And seem to be inspecting you. You said, hi.
I just said hi, yeah.
And this one right over here kind of looks back over to you and says, "Interloper, trespasser, nickel creature, in the land of gods and formless creatures. Why are you here?"
I don't know.
They look over to Maxwell. Yeah, I have actually no idea. He's probably the one that has a little bit better of an understanding than I do. We just kind of, we were in Mechalite at the Sending Tower, and he kind of slows down his speech and talks, pretty slow to these individuals. We went through a door, and now we're just here. I don't know where here is, but we're not meaning to trespass here. We just want to go home.
Can you get us back?
And the creatures look at one another. They seem relatively confused just as to how you have, made your way here. And they state, "Nickel creature, we can send you back. Where were you?"
Look down, looks at Max.
The Sending Tower is over in Mechalite. Listen, we meaning no harm. And it really does look like they are kind of readying their weapons, just to make sure that you're not trying anything suspicious here. And they kind of respond instantly as, "You do not belong here. You mustn't be here. Therefore you shall return." And they begin stepping towards you.
Great.
Maxwell kind of gets behind you and he's like, no, thank you. What's going on here? And they
said they'd bring us back.
They continue to walk towards you. This one, look down, it places its, kind of, imagine like a ditto that is, completely squashed, and is currently dealing, with like zero gravity, so it's like all over the place. It places what would probably be its hand directly onto your chest, and it starts to sink into you. And then this one kind of takes its, head and pushes it directly into Maxwell's back, and Maxwell just kind of grabs your side and says, "I don't like this, it feels cold inside of me."
This is new.
And as these things fully mold into you, you feel yourself begin to dissipate from this plane itself and disappear. And we are going to load up the Sending Tower.
There was some kind of torturing thing I could have probably thrown in there, but these things being
Nope, just willingly chose your demise. That's fine.
Look down thinks it's all crazy memory land anyway.
Also, hi Ditto, what's up? How's it going?
I'm not gonna lie, when you asked where did you come from, I was like, man, this is like a wrong turn at Albuquerque setup, but I'm not gonna say it.
Look down ends up in Breaking Bad.
He ends up in Flint, Michigan.
My name is Look, but you can call me Doozy.
I'm hella sick. Everybody's sick right now. Everybody.
Sick as fuck.
Holy shit, you're so
Sick
sick.
at Valorant.
Yeah,
Sick
that'll
nasty.
Valorant will do it to you.
Wait, Ditto, aren't you? Never mind. I thought Ditto was playing ranked Valo tonight.
They were.
Oh. I see.
They're done.
What the hell is wrong with you people? You play video games at this time?
What the?
That's meant for like 3 in the morning.
Right
going
now
on
it's
with you?
drinking time.
Am I
True.
playing Valorant right now? Nah.
Yeah.
Smile.
No.
It's 3 in the morning somewhere.
True. Very true.
That like the good old song says, it's 3 o'clock somewhere.
It's 3 o'clock somewhere.
It's a half hour away from here.
Alright, we're just loading up the map here, ladies and gents. Just be 1 second. 1 second.
Can we like have like a forked flight for Maxwell so he gets like sent and deported like elsewhere? You know?
What?
You know,
What?
like, send him somewhere else.
Guantanamo?
Yeah. Not the island. He doesn't deserve to go there.
Oh
but-
no. Almost there. Almost. All right. Let's see. All right. So, as Soliet protrudes from this dragon, she protrudes from the chest. The dragon's kind of head hangs over the rest of her body as Marth and Pivid both get kind of hot dropped into this area. And Soliet grabs her hands and places them on her head and begins shaking them. She says, "No, no, 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 no. I wasn't done yet. I wasn't done yet." And she looks to Thames, standing right in front of her.
Tim's kind of on the brink of death, says, but I was.
And she looks around the battlefield to see that not everybody is there. And she just kind of, you see her brow just lift up ever so slightly as she doesn't see Slythe. She just doesn't see Look Down or Maxwell. And she says, Where are the rest of them?
That's a good question.
Maybe that's something we have in common. We don't know where the fuck they are.
Oh.
And as you say this, appearing from directly behind you are Look Down and Maxwell. From outside, or sorry, from the inside of their bodies, two formless creatures. Let's see. Let me grab them here. They poke
Cosmo and
through.
Wanda?
Yeah, essentially Cosmo and Wanda. Pop out of the chests of both Maxwell and Look Down, and they see the giant dragon standing at the center of the platform here, and they instantly teleport away, not wanting to deal with it whatsoever. Oh, Jesus.
Behind a rock, fat man. He just hears on the wind.
And he looks over to you, Look Down, he's like, "Oh, come on, man, that felt terrible."
It was fine. He's just kind of looking dead at the dragon.
In the burning god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's looking at the dragon.
and Maxwell, his adrenaline kind of falls, and he begins to feel the immediate pain that is kind of in the surrounding area. Soliet looks to the entire party here, and she says, "Well, I suppose this is the last time that I should give you a chance." And she looks to Marth Silmance and says, "Is it to be peace, or is it to be violent? We can do this the hard way, or we can talk." And Marth looks to everybody standing on the battlefield. He sees Thames almost keeling over. He kind of sees everybody minus Slythe, who is completely kind of just invisible to the world right now. And he says, "Well, I couldn't help but say that I am intrigued, yes. But that's not my decision to bear."
As
After
he's
all,
speaking,
we
I'm
came-
creeping up on the husk.
And he says, "After all, we did come here for one thing, and one thing only."
Thing behind Thames, not the dragon.
Oh, got you. I see.
Wrong target, wrong target!
And Soliet looks to all of you and says, "Well, what'll it be then? There's much that I have to tell you. However, should you just wish to take out your rage, then I'll let you take out every ounce. Until... well, your inevitable deaths. I promise, should you let me show you what I wish to show you, I will not attempt to ascend. I will not attack any of you, but I need to have your absolute understanding and cooperation in this matter."
There is no understanding to be had, but there is a lumined sense of mortality.
And she kind of just lifts her claw, the one that's not broken, and just hovers it, up in the air and says, "I could bring this claw down on your friend at any moment. I could have ascended at any moment, but I specifically waited for you all to get here. Should you wish to offer me the same, chivalry, then we might be able to perhaps get along for a bit. At least until you make your final decision."
Stop the fog.
Easy enough. And she kind of immediately disperses the fog with her wings and stops producing it.
Okay, fine.
And the rest of you?
Look down, doesn't say anything.
Suppose I won't say no to knowing more.
She did show me much. Nothing all that recent. She, in her memories, took me through a lot of different phases of her life. And I, couldn't help but be curious as to where it ends.
Look down actually does step forward towards next to Thames and does say, "You're the only one that can tell me about me."
I'll do my best. Very well. Like I said, your absolute cooperation. She casts a sleeping spell on the arena. Is anybody attempting to resist this sleeping spell?
I don't have Dice of a Haunted Man, and I think the DC is going to be above 14, so probably don't even want to.
Okay.
I'll try and resist it.
Okay. Roll a Constitution saving throw for me.
Ooh, I get a 25.
Okay. You resist the sleeping spell. Maxwell is not. Marth is not going to pivot.
Not happy about it, but he won't.
Okay. And let's see. Look down.
Do I? I won't resist it, but I'm curious if it actually goes through. I guess.
This does, in fact, go through.
Shit, let's go.
Let me grab the bulk of you. Group you all together. And Slythe is going to be staying here.
It's the fast-acting melatonin for Lookdown.
So as the rest of the party gets put to sleep, Slythe, both you and the husk get pushed away by a giant gust of wind. Pushed to right about here, and a solid dome lodges itself on top of the party and Solyet, who are all asleep.
A solid dome. She doesn't see out of it, does she?
She's asleep. No.
Can I feel a connection between the husk and her?
Connection. You can kind of sense a connection in the fact that she seems to have given life to this husk. Yes, I suppose.
Would I be able to sense if she'd notice its absence?
During her slumber... Not while both her and the dragon are slumbering, I would say no.
Ah, perfect then. I will attack the husk from stealth.
Alright, let's see.
Zero hesitation. Well, hold on. What do you say?
Give me a attack at advantage.
I roll a 21.
That'll definitely hit, yep.
And now I do damage calculation. It's 12 damage.
12 dex, okay.
How's it looking?
It's looking pretty rough.
Oh, I'm tempted. Oh, I'm tempted to fucking try it again. But no. I'll hit it again.
Okay.
I roll a nat 20!
Nat 20 will most certainly do it, yes.
Does that crit or do it? Oh wait, shit! I rolled with the 20.
Oh yeah, you have to roll with the
Damn it.
d6s.
I roll a 13 with the d6s.
13 will not hit.
Damn.
It was almost cool.
And I wasted a good roll. It gave me a good roll, but I wasted it on the 20. Can I use that to stealth again, or do I have to roll another one?
With a bonus action, if you have a bonus action available, which you do, you can stealth. Yep.
Then I stealth with
this
the
thing
nat
is
20 that I banked.
Okay. This thing is going to try to observation.
It now
gonna stay behind it.
brother. What? Nat ones, which will. Oh yeah, this thing is it rolls like a -4 altogether.
Okay.
It does not
Must have
notice
been
you
the
go
wind.
invisible again. It must have been the wind. Yeah, it literally NPCs you. Let's see. And as that comes to a close, I'm gonna grab these tokens, copy, and we're going down.
To full screen we go.
Zoop. You see Solyet sitting in a large throne with Pavanya, who you had seen earlier, sitting in a couch. She has her hands kind of directly on her face. She seems extremely confused and very lost. And Solyet walks up to her and sits down on the couch next to her, puts her arm around her and says, "No, there. I know, I'm sorry. Things must be very confusing for you, but you don't need to worry anymore. We have company." And she points to the rest of the party.
I'm gonna go take the stool that's to my north and sit on it.
To your north here.
The red one.
Oh, this one here? Got you.
I just cast a quick heal on him. It should be 8 HP.
Big.
Huge if true. Marth looks around the space here. Now that it's fully lit up, and he just kind of begins walking forward, unrestrained by chains anymore, and he says, "This seems to be pretty reminiscent from the basement. Is that intentional?" "Yes, well, this is what my original home used to look like. Well, I should say most of it." And she stands up and looks around. A little bit of combining of the dining room and kitchen. And, you know, prison cell over there, but nothing's really ever that perfect. But it makes me feel at ease. I like to come here when I have to think about stressful things, I suppose. And she kind of goes to sit back down, and she goes, "Oh, of course, where was I? I had shown you memories previously, Marth Silmans, and I admit that I am quite surprised that you are interested in seeing more. You seemed rather off-put by the entire idea." "Right, well, yeah, being chained up and watching my friends die was, kind of a hindrance on that entire thing, so I do have to admit I am curious, if you would show us further." "Yes, well, let me impart the knowledge of my memories to everyone else here." And she shares with each of you all of the memories thus far, which you have seen in person, and now your characters themselves have such information. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I know it is a lot.
I try to pay attention during that, but there is one present that far for them, so I want it back.
Not so fast. It resides right inside. After we finish our business here, well, we'll discuss that matter later. Does that seem fair?
Fine.
I believe there's also another one that resides with me that you all know.
Yes.
Turns and looks at her.
And what does she mean to you?
Joy.
She was a companion that helped us very much so along the way.
She was a friend.
Yeah. A friend. I see. Very well then.
Her back.
Just what kind of position do you think that you're in?
I don't care.
Wow. Okay. Well, and she kind of leans back in her chair and claps her hand. We'll see, should things go right, maybe I can't release her. But until then. And she takes you all into her memory. Let's see. Zoom out here. So you last left off with her memories in which she, as Baikel had recapped before, had killed Ajir. And as you come to view the event, you are kind of looking at it as you were in the Bardock's fight from a top-down view. And you see Solyet sitting in her throne. And this is about... this is quite a few years post the events of her last memory. To a point where, as she kind of leans in and tells you... This takes place from where Lord Rodrigue, had taken his rule in Mechalite. King Desmond II lived until about 110 years old. And I would say that I am jealous for obvious reasons, but I suppose I had my own blessings to do with that. No. Lord Rodrigue was just about 5 years old when he took the throne of Mechalite. He was very green, he was very sweet, and, well, Niall took notice of that instantly. She sent a letter to my manor that I received, much to my surprise. I knew that she would attempt to learn as to whether I was helping Mechalite still or not. And as the letter stated, as sure as the stars line the skies, each night justice will persevere and always will. Hostile objector of the law, surrender yourself by dawn or be removed by force. Your charges, as many stated, are 1. Conducting of illegal and immoral magics, namely necromancy. 2. Premeditated murder of Davian Ray, who was my father. 3. Illegal purchasing and building on government property. And 4. Conspiring against and plotting the demise of Niall, the goddess of order. By these counts you shall suffer a penalty of death by the hands of Niall. Failure to appear will result in greater punishment. As whatever that meant. The law is omnipresent and has eyes in all corners of Nickelmentia. By its definition, you shall be brought to justice. Keep in mind, no personal message, just something that Niall herself would write. I was
met by several Mechalite soldiers at my own manor early in the morning. They put me in something called the Shameful Hearse. This was a 10-foot-long torture device that they strewn together and carried me to the capital, Halignor. The road was long, and I caught the gaze of many citizens and rubberneckers as I passed by. And as we reached the capital itself, I was brought up a long set of stairs into a courtroom. There was no one else inside the courtroom other than the judge, myself, and Niall. A couple of Mechalite guards to oversee. But no one in the entirety of Mechalite came to my defense as a witness. They all benefited from my magic and my potions. However, they just knew me as the witch. And the trial itself was boring. They went through all the different crimes very tediously, very slow. I looked up to Niall, who looked as if a golden eagle sitting upon its perch. She didn't dare give me the time of day to look back. As the trial reached its verdict, the judge brought his gavel down upon the table. However, before he was able to deliver such verdict, a young boy barged through the door. It was none other than Lord Rodrigue, 5 years old. He ran into the courtroom and marched his way up to the bench. And you see Lord Rodrigue kind of dash up to the bench here, and he looks directly at the judge and says, "Who was it that sent for this woman's arrest? I demand you name them." And everybody in the courtroom, their jaw just kind of drop at the same time. And he looks back up to the judge and says, "Solyet is a prized worker and has been for a long time of the Empire. Her work has been momentous and beneficial to every resident in this country, and now I must show up at my own courtroom to find I was neither notified nor asked about her arrest." And he looks over to Niall, and he says, "For a goddess of order, you lack dignity and honor. So much so to grant this woman a fair and just trial. You've defiled my court and sullied the meaning of the law. Solyet Alexandrite is hereby absolved of these convicted crimes, and this court case is dismissed." And as the memory comes to a fade, Solyet looks to the rest of the party and states, "No one had come to my defense, except for a boy who knew nothing about me. We had met only once before. He apologized for his father's crimes and the way I was treated, but that was it. To me, that meant everything. I knew that from that point forward, I owed everything to him." As the years went on, I helped Lord Eldrin, or helped Lord Rodrigue as much as I could. In any means, I tried to assist the Empire, but he insisted that my time working for them had come to a close, that I should enjoy the rest of my life, so to speak. That was until 45 years later, I was called to Velmore Castle
Not by Lord Rodrigue, but by Lord Valen. It seemed as if Lord Rodrigue had come across some illness, something that was incurable. And to them, none of their medical practitioners could fix him. They sought the assistance of a witch. She takes you all down into her next memory. Actually, let me drag you all over here. Soliet, this is the inside of Valmore's castle. And Soliet is kind of seen sitting at the end of the dining room table here, just sipping down a glass of wine. There are several servants that are kind of rushing to her side, asking if she need anything, kind of just giving her all the care and attention that she probably would be asking for. And as she is consuming this wine and enjoying her food, Lord Valen walks to the end of the table and sits down. He looks across the table to see Soliet, who looks back over to him and says, Mechalite has no class, truly. Why is it that I'm always dragged around to fix others' problems for them without being properly treated first? A lady such as myself deserves to be adorned, even not for just a fleeting moment. And Lord Valen, who seems pretty unimpressed, looks across the way, still trying to be relatively courteous, and says, Apologies, Soliet. You'll have to understand that the situation we're in is rather dire. As it stands, Rodrigue only has a couple of weeks to live, my Patovian king. And she kind of picks up the glass and swirls the wine around, pressing it up to her lips. Yes, and why is that? What do you benefit from knowing, might I ask? And Valen kind of stands up and gets closer to her, leans in on the table here, and says, Rodrigue means the world to me, means the world to all his people. All of Nickelmentia benefits from his recovery. Of course. Uninspired, boring sentiments, my dear Valen, of which I have no interest in. Not to sound cold, of course, but he's just one man. The outside world will write a book about him, mourning him and speaking of his great accomplishments, and he will be forgotten as quickly as the sun sets. To outsiders, he will be remembered as just another. And as she's kind of saying this, Valen walks over to her, grabs her face, and slams it into the table. Rodrigue will go down in history as Mechalite's greatest lord, and he will be remembered by every duke, sailor, singer, and commoner alike. Whether that is now or 20 years from today that he dies, matters not. But I will not let a spineless witch project her half-drunken shortcomings upon my brother's name. Soliet, very kind of shocked, sits back in her chair, grabs a cloth and begins to dab a little bit of blood from her lip. Yes, well, my mind is made up then. And that might be. Well, darling, I was interrupted in my home in the middle of some very important business of my own. I was rushed out so quickly that I didn't have a chance to find someone to look over Thames, and he can be such a rascal. I needed to make sure that my time was being used effectively, or perhaps I was waiting for you to stop bullshitting me and tell me the truth. I like to think that it's a mix of both. Your brother's illness is unique, but not uncurable. I could tell from a passing glance that he's in a dormant state derived from divine punishment. This punishment comes in the form of symptomless sickness called Bellick's wasting. And it kind of piques Valen's interest. He's never really... You can see on his face clearly, just plastered, that he's incredibly confused. I don't believe I've heard of such a thing. I wouldn't expect you to. It's not something that happens very often. In fact, maybe it's only been a handful of times in history. But it stems from a reaction to touching something of incredible divine power without the permission of gods. The symptoms, like stated before, include nothing but a slow hibernation that eventually leads to death. Divine power, you say? Listen, I know not where the object is, but I do know what it is. And Valen just kind of keeps a blank stare at her. She leans into him again and says, "Oh, come on, what's a lady gotta do to get some attention? Royalty is so dull." Listen, I do not know what manner of witless pawn you think I am, but I guarantee you this odd, bratty seduction act will not work on me, and is certainly no way for a lady to act in a royal house. But if lack of empathy for your odd condition is what you would consider dull, then yes, I suppose I shall be dull then. Solia kind of sighs and just states, I want it. Give it to me, and your brother will be saved. No. I love my brother, but his life is not a bargaining chip, and I will not have a price placed upon it. Listen to yourself. Everything has a price. I apologize for keeping you from your business. This Thames seems to be quite a character. I hope your coming here doesn't cause too many issues with him. Although, if he's as any disagreeable as you, well, blessings from the Creator for that. And he points towards the door. She pushes her chair out and moves over towards the exit. She briefly turns around before the staircase and states, Yes. You're making a mistake. That's all. And she leaves. And Solyet looks relatively sad and almost just bashful in the sense that she seems to be pretty upset about the events that happened there.
The way you spoke of Rodrigue from the courtroom, I'm surprised you didn't leap at a chance to help him. What changed in the time between?
I don't know why he didn't accept the help. Perhaps I might have been asking for too much. Perhaps he might have known of what I was asking for. I admittedly wish that I was the one to help Lord Rodrigue, but at the cost of giving up who I was and my public perception. Well, I shamefully have to state that I failed him.
Is that why he was in a coffin?
She looks over to you and says, Lord Rodrigue was... Oh. Most likely not in a coffin. They keep a closed container of magical arcane energy. Healing properties. I'm sure they were trying to rejuvenate him, bring him back to life. By the time I had gotten to him, they realized that such procedures weren't helping him. He was in his own bed. He had been in a coma for quite some weeks.
Did he wake up?
He did wake up. He woke up and, well, I had spent most of my time in the castle itself, my manor. I was far away from all the events that took place. However, I had a surprise visit. One late night from his son. As she states this, she brings you all to the next memory.
Good, because that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, Tim's is kind of silent because of the 4 foot end thing, but also the whole negotiating for your brother's life and wasting is a little too close to home, so...
Oof.
Scroll down. And paste. There we go. Like I said, I received a visit late one night from Lord Eldrin. He approached my manor on a very calm summer night. Not much was out other than the crickets themselves. However, a sharp knock began tapping at my door. One that was quite soft, however with much purpose. My servant, or butler, Gray, was the first to reach the door. And you see Gray, a very familiar face, go over and open up the door. And as she does, or sorry, as he does, 1 second here.
I almost forgot what he looks like.
Would have been a mercy.
You can see that he is quite tired. It seems like this is probably around like 3, 4 in the morning. He's been kind of woken up out of the dead of his sleep, and he's the closest to the door and the butler. So he kind of makes his way down to the door and just slides it open. He sees a young man just kind of standing right outside the door. Probably, he's maybe about 13 years old, very short for his age. He has exactly the kind of expression plastered on his face as he does now. And Gray opens the door and he says, yes, can I help you? Forgive my late intrusion, but I'm after, or rather, I seek urgent counsel with Solyet. I am Lord Eldrin. It's a pleasure to meet you. Gray just kind of begins to close the door a little bit as Eldrin seems to try to be forcing himself in, and he says, then I'm afraid that you'll have to come back in the morning. My lady is currently asleep. Eldrin kind of keeps the door propped open a little bit, and he puts his foot as a wedge before it gets closed. And he looks at him, he says, "Yes, but, well, I've traveled quite far. I'm not giving you an option, really. I know she's here, so go fetch her." Gray sighs and makes his way up to Solyet. Eldrin steps in and kind of makes himself at home. He sits over in the dining room area, and several servants kind of flock over to him as he begins ordering various things. And he looks over to one, and he says, "Yes, make some tea up for me and your lady, would you? We're gonna be here for a bit." And after a kind of long period of time, Solia begins to make her way down the staircase here. She seems to be incredibly tired, and she kind of just stares at Eldrin from a distance. "Made yourself cozy, I see. You have quite the staff here. The best Mechalite can pay for, truly. I wish we had such attentive servants at the palace. You have done well to train them." And he pulls out a bag of coins and kind of plops it right onto the table. The staff kind of just gathers around the table as it's, more money than most of them have seen in years. And he waves his hand and goes, "Yeah, go on then. Take the coin and spread it between the workers, or toss it out of the window. I don't care, quite frankly, what you do with it, but it's killing my appetite." The workers take the bag off the table as Solyet kind of just moseys over and very quietly sits down. "I heard that there was no welcoming party for you when you visited Velmore Castle. That, and you had to deal with my dreadful, boring uncle." And he puts a biscuit in his mouth, and he kind of gives like a me as he laughs and puts the biscuit back down on the table. "And that's what I like about you, you know? I can see that you have the understanding that nobility should all get along. Everyone is just so damn opinionated these days. They let it bind their decisions, don't you agree? Make them treat people so terribly. I feel like we'd all benefit from just getting along, don't you think?" And Solyet kind of just, sleepy, just grabs like a cup of tea and brings it up to her lips. Many people think just because you're a prince that you don't engage in important affairs, but let me assure you that is so far from the truth. While some princes like to live on the lap of luxury, I love getting right into the nitty-gritty. Talking to people, getting out of the stuffy castle and just talking to people. That is what it's all about. Don't you agree? And that's why I'm visiting you tonight. And Solyet just kind of places her tea on the saucer and sighs. Eldrin, seeing that he's not really capturing her attention, stands up and begins to get very vocal with his body language. "Brass tacks and not iron lungs, right? Well, okay, let me just get right to it. You seem like the matter-of-fact kind of gal. I observed a conversation between Niall and a demon that had been housed in our castle dungeons. The demon told her about some red stone my father had inside of his vault. And let me tell you, this was a surprise to me, as no one really tells me much of anything. So, listen." And he sees, that Niall is starting to perk up a little bit. "I put some real man-hours into this. I had to go look into the dungeons and sneak around. This is a big deal for me." All right. Well, so, she called his bluff. "I'll strike you down with fire and brimstone kind of stuff, you know. The demon, he was really, really insistent, though. Honest, even. Told her something like, maybe you'll feel satisfied killing someone who's telling you the truth. Now, Soliet, I've heard from reliable sources that you know Niall better than any of us. She, to my surprise, walked up the stairs and into the vault herself. After that, I don't really know what happened. But, anyways, I spoke to her the next day, and, Eldrin saying this is the one thing that really, really catches the attention of Soliet, and she leans into him and says, No, what do you mean you didn't see what happened next? Yeah, I don't know, she just ran up the stairs and I had to make my escape. Who knows what she did inside the vault, but honestly, you're missing it. I'm trying to paint you a bigger picture here. And Soliet just, like, sighs and leans back in her chair. So, I spoke with her the next day. I introduced myself as the heir to the throne, and she happily put her hand on my shoulder, told me that she was excited to work with me in the future. Now, I am not daft. My father has never seen eye to eye with the goddess. He's always stood in the way of her plans, and his plans vice versa, okay? Listen, my father thinks that his brother killed his own wife. And whether that's really true or not, I don't really know or care. But he also thinks that he purposefully tried to usurp his kingdom out from under him while he was in a coma. Now, I am not a bad man. But I know that if the ends are good enough, that means that the means usually justify them, right? Usually. I mean, it's like a tree that is plump full of cherries, and the only reason that you can't take a handful of them is because some people are afraid that it might endanger the future life of the tree. Okay? But that first bite of the fruit is so rich and so delicious. You know it's worth it. I'll be honest with you. I need your help. My father's been attempting to reach his brother for weeks now. I've done my best to intercept their communications, but I need someone strong and dedicated in my pocket. You know what I mean? Rodrigue is heading into Patovia this week with a private escort. He's determined to go through hell or high water to meet with Valen and find the truth, and that can't happen. You hear me on that, right? I know that you're a witch. I know that you understand how to make something appear as if it was an accident. And, Solya kind of pushes his chair off to the side and says, Leave. I'm sorry? Get out. Never come back here again. You're making a very unwise decision, and I will not be dragged into it with you. And if you are so inclined as to continue this, I will stop you. That's all I have to say to you. If you're frightened, I am not frightened. I am defiant. Really, what did you think would happen? Lord Rodrigue stood by my side when no one else would. To the rest of the world, to you, I am just a witch. But when Niall had me dead to rights, he was the one that saved my life. And to him, I owe my life. As his father, I would hope you understand what type of man he is. And Eldrin, very shocked by this response, widens his eyes and tosses the chair off to the side. You're right. I know exactly what type of man he is. The kind of man who is unfit to handle a kingdom. He single-handedly released our grasp from centuries of progress. Don't you understand that? The goddess of order can't stand him. I can't stand him. His own son. Yet, the one that stands with him is some decrepit old bitch who works as the kingdom's lapdog? Well, hear me loud and hear me now.
You'll be working under a different rule soon enough. Get yourself accustomed. I'm afraid you won't be living the same lavish lifestyle as you are now. But you will be working for me. Good riddance, Pavania. And he turns around and begins walking towards the door. Soliet sees him start to leave, and she casts a spell in which she picks him up, drags him across the kind of just across the hallway here, sending this picture crashing to the ground and leaving him very scraped up as he bashes right into the side wall here. He falls down to the ground and huffs out just kind of a mouthful of blood. And Soliet walks over to him at the very end of the corridor here and states, "My name is Soliet Alexandrite, dear. And if you think for 1 second your royal status restricts my decision-making, then I'm afraid you're sorely mistaken. The next time you show up, the next time you show your very face in this manner again, I will kill you." He, just kind of very shakily walks over to the door and exits, heading to his caravan.
Some children deserve to have been beaten more.
Yes, well,
In this case, can't say I disagree.
I know Lord Rodrigue was quite strict with his child, but he had a sense of kindness to him too. Even then, he was just sick. I mean...
Tim's gives the nastiest side eye.
To Soliet?
Yep. The second she says sick.
What do you mean, sick?
Well, some people have illnesses. Some people can't get out of bed. They have the flu. They run a temperature. But Eldrin's sickness was much more in the mind. He was well-spoken, but very manipulative. Anything that he said, he usually got.
Tim starts to speak and then doesn't say anything.
Is something the matter, dear?
No surprise, no.
Very well.
And Marth seems to just be kind of glaring the entire situation. She catches his eye just staring over the memories. She knows quite well that he has regained his memories and knows much more about Lord Eldrin now. And she looks back over to the rest of the party and says,
Very well. There's only a couple more to show you. But it should enlighten you a fair bit.
And she takes you down to the next level here. Yeet. Oh wait, oops, I lied. She doesn't take you down to a level, because they're all on this level.
Whoa.
Let's see. She looks to a large open road with a caravan that is transporting Lord Rodrigue to the capital. And she looks to the rest of the party and states,
I had to spend many hours off the beaten path looking for... Well, I knew what he was up to, but I didn't really know exactly what he was planning. But, I followed the caravan and went up ahead quite a fair bit. I was looking for, well, suspicious activity, an ambush. And just grabbing the notes here. Copy these bad boys. I had run a fair bit further up towards the border, and I had found several what seemed to be Patovian soldiers, all huddled up in a small enclosed space in the forest. Obviously, this was quite suspicious. On my hunch, I decided to approach them camouflaged as an old woman. And actually, let me change her token over to the old lady token. This will be perfect.
What have you been kidnapped?
Big.
I remember when it was simpler. I remember when it was just, you know, walk into a city, old ladies thinking you're getting kidnapped by somebody. Just being able to say I don't know to everything.
Let's see. You see Solya, as kind of camouflaged as an old woman, begin to walk through the forest here, and she gets herself caught in a bush and starts to wail her kind of arms around and begin to scream out. The noise of which immediately alerts a couple of the men who run over to her, very prepared to do whatever they have to do. And the rest of these men are just like, yeah, just go deal with it. Come on, like, he's gonna be here any minute now. And as they approach Solya, kind of covered in a bunch of twigs and leaves, she goes, "Hello, Samuel, is that you? I can't see without my glasses. Are we close to the house? I just wanted to water the populums, but must have taken the wrong turn. I must have been walking for hours trying to find my way back." And she, like, is just, the mercenaries get a little bit closer, and she places her fingers up on the face of one of the mercenaries and begins kind of, like, prodding at his eyes. Oh, pardon me, you're not my son. Oh, where exactly am I, dear? The mercenaries look at one another. One of them slides, this one in the back here, slides a knife from the backside of his belt, and the other puts his hand up, kind of stopping him momentarily. The one that's close to her puts his arm around her and says, "This is Officer Tomlinson, ma'am. Someone reported something large bustling in their yard, so I thought I'd check it out. I can't get you back home, but, you know, I'll guide you back there off the beaten path, and we'll find out where you live and contact someone you know, okay? The main roads are really busy right now. You know, there's a lot of traffic on the roads, so I want to make sure you get home nice and safe, okay? You hear me?" And she lifts her eyebrows are incredibly heavy. They kind of sag right over her eyes. And she lifts it up just ever so slightly, and she says, "Oh, officer, thank you." And she reaches her hand out to go, like, pat him, falls down and grabs the ankle of this mercenary right here, and tries to get herself up. And this guy goes, whoa, careful there, ma'am. We don't want you twisting an ankle or anything, okay? Now my fellow officer, he's going to help you get home safe, all right? Don't you worry, and have yourself a nice day, right? And he looks over to his fellow officer and he says, "We'll be fine. Just, you know, deal with that, okay?" And he makes his way back over to his friends. The
Mechalite's mercenary brings her to a large opening, relatively far away from the original path. And he says, well, ma'am, we're right here where we need to be, almost at the station, okay? And he goes to slide a knife out from his back pocket. Solyetz, as an old woman, casts a distraction ether inside of a bush and makes it rustle. He quickly jostles around just to check out the sound, and the second part of the distraction ether curves up right under from his neck and goes through his throat, killing him instantly. And as the caravan is making its way, these soldiers move in quickly and barrage just with a quick volley of spears into the cart. No one gets hurt except for a bear, in which it just kind of impales it right into the leg of one of the bears. However, they quickly see that nothing has happened. They just wanted to catch their attention, and they begin running away. They all run away, except for the one mercenary that was alongside his friend with Solyet, and his ankle explodes, and he comes crashing down to the ground. And out of the caravan, a large golden knight grabs the mercenary and drags him over to the side of the road here. And he just looks him right in the eye, looks over to his leg that's kind of blown to bits, and he says, "Unfortunately, you seem to have triggered your own trap. Now loosen your tongue before you bleed out. Should you tell me who hired you, I'll save your pitiful life. Of course, it's more than you deserve." And the soldier just kind of looks at the cold stare of the soldier, and he just grunts and says, "Fallon, Sir Loyal, we were hired to just send a volley, and we..." And the knight brings his greatsword down on his other leg as Lord Rodrigue hops out of the cart and looks at the soldier himself. "My lord, please don't put yourself at risk." "At ease, Jalik. This is no Patovian soldier." And he grabs his sword and drags it across the chest plate of the soldier. Normally, with Patovian soldiers, they have black steel, which are from a very famous pit in Patovia itself. However, because they weren't able to make a true duplicate, the craftsman, the blacksmith himself, painted the armor black. You see the paint just kind of chip off to the side as he drags his sword across the chest plate. "A convincing replica. But Patovian troops wouldn't stray this far from the border. They haven't for years, and they wouldn't just to make an example. You!" And he kneels down and points at the soldier. He begins to tend to the man's kind of blown off leg. "I'll give you your double going rate as to what you were hired today. I'm afraid you'll need to sell out your fellow mercs, but do that and you can walk away from this. I'm sure you have a family feed just like I do." And he doesn't really say anything immediately, so he looks over to Jalik, who brings his greatsword down to the leg of the man as he's ready to chop it once more. And he begins babbling. He goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Rodrigue grabs a hold of the man and he says, "Shut the fuck up, okay? You don't understand, really, the situation that you're in, but I can offer you safety. No, man, you don't understand. I'll never be able to work in the guild again. They'll kill me for the rat I am now. They'll cut my balls off and feed them to dogs, man. They're vicious. And Rodrigue just kind of looks him in the eye and says, "That's why you'll be working inside the castle. I mean, without your legs, you'll be probably regulated to just watch duty, but if I can get them fixed up in the next 10 minutes, who knows, you might have a relatively nice position." Alright, it was your son. And as Rodrigue is kind of tending to this man's wounds, he takes the needle and twists it in the leg of the man, kind of spinning his skin in a circle. And he screams out, and he says, Oh, sorry, force of habit. My son put you up to this, Very well. Jalik, toss him in the back of the caravan. And get him medical. And he looks back over to the man, he says, "Hey, you, if I move towards this border any further, am I going to get any more surprises?" The mercenary who's on the ground now is passed out. And Jalik takes a second, stands up and says, Rodrigue stands up and says, "All right, well, I guess we're headed back. I'd like to have a conversation with Eldrin in private."
That might not be what he was envisioning. Eldrin's plans still seem to have worked.
Yes, well, she stopped him from reaching Sens and speaking with Valen. However, I was fearful that he would attempt to kill his father, so while I may have stopped him in, temporarily, ultimately his goal did work, yes.
You placed a rune on that man's ankle.
I did. It was quite handy.
Merely noticed the movement.
And she looks over to the rest of you, and she just simply says, "I do appreciate you looking through these memories. I had resigned myself to the idea that I may have to just kill you all. Lord Eldrin, while he is seemingly a very talkative and outward person, he's very dark. I knew he would try to manipulate you all to come here, and I had planned for the worst."
If he had not told us to come here, I think we still would have.
Agreed. Primarily personal motive that brought us here.
Personal?
The memories are one thing. It is a empathetic situation. But you held me for over half my life. In slavery.
My dear Thames, I was the one who kept you alive. And let me remind you that you were the one who asked me to hold on to you, not the other way around.
At the threat of my life. Or my brother's.
Well, of course I needed you to do work for me. But your agreement to help your brother, I did keep my word. And even after your work was done, you asked me to stay. I was quite touched.
To ensure that you would see a deal through.
You and the rest of the world, darling. You and the rest of the world.
I don't remember asking to stay.
Well, you were quite a different matter. By that time, I hadn't much choice. You'll see. And she takes you down to the next memory.
Didn't ask for experiments either.
Oh. And as you kind of say that, she just gives you a side glance. Doesn't really respond to it. But you can see that she feels relatively uncomfortable talking about it.
And what of being told to work for you in the first place, or die?
Yes, well, you know, I was simply helping out a friend.
My crime was harsh words from a drunk man.
Your crime was demotivating a fair amount of your own kind to waltz to their death, to stop caring. They looked up to you.
They looked up to a drunkard.
They did. Shame that. And she takes you to the next memory. In which a knock at the door of Soliet's Manor in the middle of the night once more. This time, before Gray can even reach, the door, before he can even really leave his room itself, Soliet marches her way down and very kind of angrily opens up the door here. And standing in the center of the door, oops, hold on with the autosave, is Lord Eldrin in chains with a couple of golden knights leading him to the door. And this one knight on the right says, "We've been ordered to hand-deliver him, Madame Soliet. He is to be housed here until further notice, orders of the king." And he hands a signed order over to Soliet, who very happily takes the piece of paper and smiles and kind of just brings her hand to the side and says, "Oh, understood, boys. Bring him right in." And they push him inside. Soliet guides him to the dining room here, and a couple of Mechalite or Soliet's guards just wait off to the sides here. She sits him down at a table, and Eldrin kind of just sits down and has a pretty comfortable smile on his face. And Soliet locks eyes with him and says, "At least you seem pretty chipper for someone who's going to be spending the lifetime in prison. Any requests before I put you to bed for the evening? I have quite a few ideas in mind for you come daybreak. You look like you have a pretty good eye for landscaping work." Although I do remember stating that the next time you come into the castle that it would be your last. But your father knows best, I suppose. Eldrin leans back in his chair and kicks his feet up on the table. And he says, "I think it's cute that my father chose you to keep an eye on me. He'll probably just tell the people in the capital that I'm training to become a proper noble and leave it at that. No one will come looking for me in the middle of nowhere, well, I would assume." And he pauses and looks over at Soliet. "One last
chance, Solian. No one would expect us to conspire now. Surely, come on, I mean, think about it. And she sighs and looks over to him and says, I gave you my answer already, get up. And he says, very well. And he stands up. And she goes to spin him around. But as she goes to bring him around in a circle, one of Soliet's guards goes up behind her and jabs her right through the stomach with a spear. She falls to the ground immediately, and he kind of gets right on top of her, grabs her hair, and places a knife to her throat. And Eldrin, looking very pleased with himself, just kind of lets out a deep sigh of relief and says, much better. Listen, Pavanya, was it? And he kind of just leans down to look at her. I don't give a damn how intimidating you are. You can only command by fear for so long. Sooner or later, the boogeyman just stops being scary. You know, I had a nice conversation with these gentlemen, and he points around to the room to the Mechlite guards, about a week before I came to visit you. The things they told me, they are terrified of you. No wonder you can't keep a man in the house. It's most unbecoming, really. And this guard walks up to Eldrin and releases him from his restraints. And he looks over to the knight and says, thank you. He leans down into Soliet's ear and begins whispering. You see, mutual respect and understanding is the way we should all govern each other as people. Listen, I gotta go. I hope your crony old bitch-ass soul arrives at whatever odd destination it's bound to go to. Know that you did your best in life, and I don't know. Okay, that's all I got. Really, you fucked up. You really should have taken the choice when you had it. Okay? Is the coach ready for me? And he looks over to the guards, who nod their head and says, good. Yeah, and don't be too messy with her. And he kicks her in the stomach and begins to leave. Soliet casts Fervir Rimikatho, which is the spell she used to take the life of somebody instantly before, and the soldier drops down to the ground lifeless. Another soldier runs up to her, and she casts a necrotic spell, completely devouring his skin and sending him careening into the table here, crashing. The soldier runs up to her. She slaps his blade out of his hand and sends a blade of her own directly into his side. Eldred, in the meantime, is dashing towards the door as fast as he possibly can. Soliet goes to cast a spell, and it breaks the door as he is on the other side, leaving. And as she casts these spells, she seems pretty drained. She falls to the ground, and Gray, the butler, runs downstairs quickly and screams, medical attention! Medical attention, please! Please, someone! Someone help her! She's bleeding out on the floor! And Thames, this was the time you had spent, you had been at the castle for quite some time. You do remember specifically Gray screaming this up the stairs, although you really couldn't be bothered to leave your forge itself.
What happened to Fia? At one point, I wished to stay to free her. I was not aware of her own matters. What happened to her?
Fia was freed. Renthal had let her go. We had talked about you beforehand. She was hell-bent on staying and watching you in, I don't know, whatever form of judgment she had planned for you. She just wanted to see what your reaction would be, I suppose. I don't really know what was going through her mind, but one night before dinner, I had spoken to her and she seemed as if she was ready to let go. I don't know what had happened between you and her, but she seemed as if she had some type of resolution. Some closure. I don't know where she is, or if she even lived once Renthal let her go.
If she was released in a mechalite, I doubt it was easy going.
Yes, well, I can only hope that she got far enough north, was able to escape the mechlite patrol. But I'll never really know that for sure.
What is the point to this, Solieth? You've already told me how you feel about the world.
Yes, well, in the beginning, when you had arrived, I was hoping to keep you longer inside my mental dungeon. I had Pavanya with me, and I was running through my memories with her in hopes that she would make a decision for me. Unbiased. Fresh. All my years I had always thought that maybe I could just have one more chance. Just one more lifetime that I might see my vengeance. Might be able to make my mother happy. Take care of Niall and her corruption once and for all. But it was always more complicated. There was always something else. Eldrin, Mechalite, Niall, even you, Thames. There was always an obstacle in the way. So, I ran through my memories with Pavanya. Had she decided that she was satisfied with the ending of these memories, I would deny godhood. Of course, I saw you roaming through the inside of my mind in that ridiculous board game that you had set up, but I allowed it to happen. It is what I wanted. If I really was to ascend to godhood, if I really was to kill all of you, I would at least wish to forget everything that had happened. That's all.
You said it yourself. You take what you want from who you want when you want to. So, tell me, what is it you want from us?
I would hope you understand that we share a common interest. And should you not, well, we'll just see whose better interest perseveres.
You hold our life like they are a plaything. Do you truly need our assistance?
It wasn't me. Well, with you, I suppose it was a bit different. With everyone else, though, it was never my decision. And she brings you to the next memory.
It looks like he's about to fucking say something and then gets cut off by the memory.
You see a large battle that takes place. Several barricades are set up out on the outside of Velmore Castle. Plenty of golden knights are now dead at the exterior wall of Velmore Castle itself. And Soliet looks over to Marth and states, "I'm assuming you remember this memory quite well. The Great Reset had taken place in Petovia, and war between Petovia and Mechalite had broken out. And despite all of it, despite Lord Rodrigue's pleas, despite Eldrin trying to drag me from one side to another, I refused. I just simply wished to live a life outside of all of it. I had a lot of planning going into Project Renthal that I needed to pay attention to, and a lot of questions that hadn't had answers yet as to how I could proceed forward with my own research. However, one night, this was quite a few years forward, after I had met Marth, after I had engaged with Lord Valen, Rodrigue, ultimately the two nations couldn't get along with one another. I received, that night, a call from Lord Eldrin, stating that Lord Rodrigue had marched all the way to Sen's castle to engage in a final combat with Lord Valen. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I had ever heard. I immediately hung up on the call, not before receiving, just a couple of minutes later, an urgent request from Velmore Castle saying that Marth Silmance was attacking the castle itself. This was from a random soldier who was standing guard inside the castle itself. I thought that perhaps Lord Rodrigue was in real danger and that he was inside Velmore Castle itself. So, I raised an army. And she kind of, it pans off to the large army of Alexandrite soldiers that are marching down to Velmore Castle. At the center, you see Aloretta and young Marth just kind of waiting outside the castle. They seem to be taken pretty off guard as they look towards Velmore Castle, in which a lot of their soldiers had crossed the barricades and made their way inside. And Marth looks over to Soliet and says, "It was a landslide victory. There was barely anybody defending the castle. We just wished to end the war. We wished to just have the words from Lord Rodrigue's mouth state that he had had enough. Enough of the bloodshed, enough of the slaughter. Really, in all honesty, this was all started from Mechalite in the first place. It was insanity. We worked for years to get to this point. And finally, on the brink of victory in Velmore Castle, we sent our soldiers in. But when I called for them, none of them came. It was as if nothing was even there."
Terrible things were there.
And Marth looks over to you and he says, What do you mean?
I saw monsters Valen fighting Rodrigue.
That must have been at Sen's castle. My father had told me not to campaign into Mechalite.
Look down looks directly at Marth. If your father was a good man, Rodrigue was also a good man. So why did they fight each other?
And Marth kind of bites his lip, and he says, I am beginning to remember a lot of things about my life before I went to sleep. My father never gave me a direct reason as to why Mechalite attacked. No one knew why Mechalite attacked, not even my father. But I don't think for a second that Lord Rodrigue wished this as well. I can't. I knew my uncle for 18 years of my life. I had met him quite a few times, and he was always kind. He never wished ill on my family, and he never wished ill on Petovia. And Solyet looks over to the two of you and states, yes, but it was out of his hands at the moment. By this time, Lord Rodrigue and Niall were calling the shots, completely without your uncle's knowing or control on the matter. That's what I'm to assume, at least. At the end of the day, I'm always looking for the right answer.
But why were there monsters there? There was a door, but like no other door to somewhere else.
Solia turns to you, understanding what you're saying, and says, the Great Reset. It happened some 50, maybe 51 years ago. Chaos has infected Petovia, covered the lands all and in between. Several portals in what they call Cregan pits opened up. If you speak of monsters, I'm sure that must be what you're speaking of.
I am so confused. They were fighting Rodrigue's men. Were they on Valen's side?
Marth kind of backs away and shakes his head. My father would never in a million years settle with chaos. Even if his country were to fall. You saw it in the memory before. Dealing with shady people, exceptions to the rules, my father was always straight by the book. He would never side with chaos. You should know better than any. And he looks over to Solyet, who kind of
backs away, just ever so slightly, and states, "Your father, for what it's worth, was an unbearably honorable man. You, even more so, however. I can't claim to know his actions. I can't claim to know his motives. However, I can state that he loved his country more than anything, and he loved his boy even more."
Lookdown just kind of puts his hands to his head as if it's like in pain, and is just kind of standing there trying to keep his thoughts together, trying to understand or make sense of it.
It might have been Rodrigue and Valen's disagreement might have taken precedence over whatever chaos was occurring nearby. To them, it might have just been each other.
It could be.
I just didn't see anyone else there.
Not even any of Valen's house guard?
No. Just to make sure I'm correct, though, DM,
Yes.
that was the only thing I saw in the room was Megalite soldiers and those creatures.
Correct.
I didn't see like any dead bodies of Patovians.
Correct.
Okay.
Marth, kind of with his arms raised a little bit to the air, backs away and says, No. I look down.
I look down.
When we get home, we'll sort this out. But for now, and he kind of turns to the battlefield and he says, "Just show me what you came here to fucking show me."
Man, I legitimately can't remember what was said between Rodrigue and Valen when they were fighting. I don't know if anybody else can, but
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, I was just curious because I remember them fighting at the portal and words being said because I remember running up to the portal. Fuck.
I suppose you and the audience are gonna have to go back, baby. Let's go.
I know. I will now. Well, cause like just above table, there's a part of me that's like, I mean, I feel like I'm getting it from a Mechalite point of view, so I'm also like, I don't know. Ah, fuck, man. All right, I'm going back. Let me know if I miss anything.
Yep. No, you're good. The battle ensues. Marth and Aloretta, you can see they are caught very much so by surprise. As Solia and her army move in, Aloretta and Marth get separated. Oh, what happened? You can't see them?
the army.
Oh, sorry. I got you. Yeet. Big army.
Oh, there we go.
There you go, thank you. Marth and Aloretta get separated. Marth begins fighting several soldiers, and he is able to fend off quite a fair few, but at this point he has already kind of exhausted himself in battle. Aloretta makes her way straight for Solia with Didamia at her side, and she strikes down one of these berserk sentinels and brings it to the ground entirely. She fights Soliet in hand-to-hand combat, and eventually she falls. Out of kind of stamina entirely, Soliet drags... opposite way. Here we go. Soliet drags Aloretta over to Marth, who is now exhausted and on the floor. A lesser Alexandrite husk with his foot on Marth Silmance's head. Marth looks over to Aloretta with Soliet just kind of grabbing onto her collar. She tosses Aloretta down to the ground. Marth has kind of no energy left to him whatsoever. He wishes to cry out. He wishes to scream. But he just simply cannot, as if a bad dream. Soliet brings her scythe down directly on Aloretta's skull and kills her in front of Marth. A knight who is barely conscious, kind of, and very much so crippled from the combat, crawls over to Soliet and states, "Please, spare him. He could be of use to you. He could be of use to our cause. Please." And Soliet locks eyes with Marth, who seems incredibly defiant. Kind of pierces right into Soliet's soul itself. And she says, "No, this one, if I left him alive, would be far too dangerous." Marth, finally collecting enough energy, looks up to her and says, "I remember you. I saw you before, which I will haunt you. I'll never forget. I'll never forget." And Soliet brings her scythe down on Marth's neck, separating it from his body entirely. A few moments in the combat pass, and she grabs Marth's head and kind of brings it up to the rest of the Alexandrite husks that are watching. They all seem very, very happy in response, cheering on. And as she turns back around, she sees a small blue stone fall out from his pocket, and his head slowly grow back into place. In surprise, with Marth Silmance's head in her very own hand, she looks over to the soldier and states, "Perhaps he might be of use after all." Right.
Oh.
And Marth kind of tries to get at Soliet. He runs, he tries to run past Look Down.
Pivot's gonna fucking put a hand on his chest.
And Marth, just in a very angry, trying to just push past as forcefully as possible, he just says, "You bitch! You bitch! You killed her! You killed her! You jeopardized everything! It was over! It was all over! Damn it!" She gives him a kind of side-eye glance and says, "You know very well that should you have won that battle, nothing would have been over. Besides, I spared your life. My goodness. In your eyes, Marth Silmance, should you wish to know, I saw something all too familiar. That spiteful, justifying glance that you would always do the right thing, no matter the consequences, no matter the cost. You always reminded me of her. And I suppose, deep down inside, I always held some type of resentment towards you, for that matter. For you always had some type of orderly, gentlemanly, chivalrous response to anything you had ever said. And to most people, when they offer a hand to a lady, when they try to do something right or correct morally, they have some type of ulterior motive. With you, it seemed as if you just wanted to do it because it was the right thing. It made me sick, if I'm to be perfectly frank with you. But that's not why I killed you. In your eyes, I saw something dangerous. And I was right to assume so.
Dangerous, huh?
Dangerous indeed. I knew so later in life when I had prayed. Well, let me say it this way. I took Marth Silmance's head and marched it all the way to Niall, placed his head on a platter for her. She seemed incredibly pleased, as if the war had come to an end itself. An absolute victory in Petovia, Sens being leveled. Everything had gone exactly the way they had intended, although Niall would never admit it. Her involvement in the matter, her murder of every soldier that proceeded to be inside that castle, and she looks over to the castle of Velmore. She wiped her hands clean of it. As to why she did, as to what she was trying to hide, perhaps it was just arrogance. She has a role to fill as the goddess of order, after all. However, she seemed pleased. And I had Marth Silmance's body. I brought it to my newly founded Castle Soliet. I have one last memory to show you, if you would.
Marth.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to see it. Very well. And she takes you to the last memory. Far into the future. Actually, not so far in the future from the events that have taken place here. She takes you to Sens. To the now destroyed Castle Sens. And give me 1 second here. You see now Soliet standing at the main road of Sens itself, alongside Lord Eldrin, who is wearing the attire that you had now seen him to wear today, Pivot. And
scarred so early.
What was that, sorry?
He was scarred so early.
Something had happened in the war to Lord Eldrin. He was shameful to talk about it. Always very sensitive about it. But it affected the way he looked, the way he spoke. He always covered himself up after the fact. Said that he wanted to always look like a proper and noble Mechalite king. I never asked him. I was never all that interested. And Soliet looks back over to her and Eldrin staring at Castle Sens. Eldrin looks over to her and says, "What do you think?" It's, really quite something, isn't it? Solya looks over the ruins of Sen's castle. The debris has not even settled from the events that have taken place. Fires still are blaring in the distance, and monsters are roaming the streets. And Solya replies, "This city was built on a dream. And it ended in a nightmare." Solyets, come on now. You didn't answer my question. It's terrible. Disgusting, even. There. Now, was that so hard? Welcome to your new home. Your manor is getting leveled. Old pal of mine in the King's Cove thinks it would be great for a farm. He said it would be the optimal farm for him, at least. I thought it looked nice as it was, but what can I say? I'm a people pleaser. And Solya doesn't say anything. She just has a long, distant stare looking towards Castle Sens. Oh, come on, what the hell? No, thank you. This is a witch's aesthetical dream. You got dead bodies over there. Everything's black and dreary. No? Listen, it could be worse. Niall wanted me to just kill you, get rid of you. But I told her that you had promise. You just need a bit of a reawakening, so to speak. A change of atmosphere will do you wonders. You bit the hand of the Empire, and you're being punished. Nothing more, nothing less. And besides, you were working with my grandfather all those years. It'll be just like the old times. Solya, who is kind of ignoring his advances towards her, says, "I hate the old times." Yeah, that's kind of the point, okay? Listen, I'll be sending a shipment of prisoners in 2 days. Get the place functional and running. You suck 'em dry or whatever the hell it is that you witches do, but not before you run my research. Once every 2 months, keep that in mind. We're meeting. I'm expecting good results. I'd hate to tell Niall that I was wrong about you. Solya, after kind of taking in Sens, just turns and very sweetly smiles to Lord Eldrin and says, "Yes, of course, dear." Well, thank goodness! I thought I was talking to a welcome mat with the way you were repeating yourself. So cold. I'm happy that you came to the lights. I'll see you in a couple of months. Let me know if there is anything you need. The Empire is always more than willing to provide. And he walks away as a kind of private contractor of Mechalite approaches Solyet, and he says, "It's quite a messy trek, but I guarantee you that once you get past all the debris, you'll love what's inside. Shall we?" She turns to him and smiles. "Yes, let's, dear." Takes his hand and walks towards the castle.
Ain't that a fucking laugh?
I wish I could have told you.
But there were more important things in my mind. I hate to say, but ultimately my priority was getting revenge. Stopping Niall. And any risk, any sort of risk and jeopardization, I wouldn't. I'm sorry.
I'm sure all 13,000 of those souls are deeply thankful for your sorry.
I
About as much as I am.
admit it is 100,000 Patovian souls that I house within that body. But that is why I brought you here. I am on the brink of ascending to godhood. In all the years that I prayed to the Creator to save Lord Silmance's life, to craft him into to craft me. Listen to yourself. What kind of monster? I mean, surely you hadn't much of an option, really, but what you put us through is unforgivable. We're not just here to see your memories and what, just forgive you for them? No. I would never claim that I was a great person. Nor would I ever claim that I was even a good person. However, I've always had a noble goal in mind. Marth, when I took you home, I cared for you. I stripped away your memories, but every single day I prayed to the Creator to save your life. I saw something in you that I know the Creator had seen as well. A replacement. I'm sorry. The Book of Naterna, by the time I had been done written it, was only 2 spells. The rest of them were hand-gifted to me by the gods themselves. Niall is under a trial by man, with the one exception being you and the rest of your party. The Book of Naterna is the gods' gift to you. Can't you see that? Why do you think I was so blatantly upset by the fact that you denied its own power? That book holds everything that you need to defeat Niall, but you tossed it aside. As far as prisoner point 5, you came to me, and I do not remember who brought you, why you arrived at the castle. However, when you did arrive, I was under the directive to experiment on you, to take your life just like I had everyone else. But in your body, and I know you've seen it now, what did I find?
A monster.
A monster that I know not who or why was in my dungeons. But alongside it, a blood-red stone. Niall seeks that bloodstone and your tearstone. Why she does, I don't know. But I know that I have to do everything in my power to keep it from her.
There is another factor. We saw the battle. We heard so much of what happened in the Sin's betrayal and what you did. But if I recall, another figure came to be. One that we'll likely face in the future. You know who I'm talking about. Who is he?
Who is that? I'm sorry.
The Radiant Knight.
The Radiant Knight. I'm afraid I know little more than you do about the Radiant Knight. He, in an instance, like a puff of smoke from a blooming fire, appeared. He was never by Niall's side in all those years that I'd been in the monastery. Only once the war's efforts were done had I seen him.
Is it not eye-opening to look upon us and see all that we have went through? All that was done to us, all that we did, all the power that was offered to us. A situation not unlike your own, and see that we chose the right path, and you did not.
I deny that I have not chosen the right path. For 400 years, I have been on the right path. Project Renthal has cost me a better than 2 lives to create. Just to get you here. Just to... Without me, you would have been drunken in the streets. Pivot... Who knows? Only your mother. As to where you would be. Marth Silmance. Should you have entered that castle, Niall would have disposed of you. And prisoner point 5. I don't even know.
The trial you put us through by fire did not help us. It did not forge us into something better. It was torture. Nothing more. We only grew whenever we escaped you.
Can't you see that I had no other decision? Those experiments? Those tests? All those years inside my castle? I never wanted any of that. Lord Eldrin forced me to conduct them. All those years of slavery for prisoner point 5, every single test, prodding needle, metal implanted in the skin, burning, drowning, poison. It was never my design, never my decision. I never wanted any of this.
And you, O great master of illusion and deception, could not deceive him, of all people? Could not lie about it?
I tried. I kept Pivot safe from the eyes of Mechalite and Niall. That is all I can state. All else is between him and someone else. And for the rest of you, I'm sorry. You lost the war. I did the best I could.
What do you mean between me and someone else?
I promised that should you arrive at the Sending Tower to stop me, as you have now, that you would have a private console with your mother.
Why now?
She would never tell me. There's something that she keeps secret, close to herself, that she could neither tell me nor anyone else. She's been saving it for you. Do you wish to speak with her?
Of course.
And she kind of sadly puts her eyes down to the ground and sways her hand to the side, revealing a door for you.
Above?
Wait for me, will you?
Yes, we shall.
Steps towards the door.
Step towards the door, and it seems as if it is just a not an ornate door by any means, just a very old, kind of shabby looking door that brings back nostalgia. The door, the front door to your household back in Trell.
Pivot kind of lays his palm on it for a second, seemingly lost in thought, before he quickly grabs the doorknob and swings it open, stepping through.
All right. 1 second. Whoa. And Pivot, as you step through the door, you arrive inside a circular library. 2 waterfalls begin kind of pouring down from each side as several wavering chain lightnings ignite themselves inside the room itself.
It's not even my fucking spell.
You can't escape.
Why is that here?
Why is that here?
And after a moment, your mother walks through a door as well and appears on the other side of the table. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be dragging Pivot to a private call just very quickly, for this is for his ears only. And I will also be right back. I'm just going to run to the bathroom quick. If you guys need to grab some snacks, audience as well as players, make sure to do so. And we'll be right back.
Well, what the hell?
I wonder how many turns I get. I wonder how many turns I get when we go back to me.
Ooh.
You're probably getting like a nice little defeat the minions minigame.
Oh, killed that one, Lesser Alexandrite. Oh no, there's another one.
Apparently I've got 100,000 to go.
One down, 2 million to go.
Maybe it's
I
like
feel
if you get like a major one, like you get like a score multiplier, because it's probably took more than one soul.
Ah,
Like,
I see.
like maybe like I would say like a 3 is probably like, maybe like an 81 multiplier. Like a tier 2 is probably like I'd say like a 9.
I'm
Well,
currently
the base is
imagining
1.
what's it?
That's a good combo.
He's mid swing, right? But he's paused. He's just paused. His eyes can move. He can look around. But he's just paused by the DM.
Dude's just held in space time. He's like, what's going on?
Why can't I kill this thing?
Slides is running around killing all these husks and just looking at everyone going, me, 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 me.
What husks? I've only been able to kill the 3 on the lead up to this entire fight.
Slide out here wondering why all this like build up just to have a group sleepover.
Hey, cat. Got any commentary? Hey. Ooh. What?
All right. Mr. Pivot,
Hello, sir.
are you ready?
No, but let's do it.
Perfect. I'm going to drag you to a separate voice chat here. Let's see.
Oh.
And ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be muting myself in the stream. And we will be seeing you in just a couple of minutes.
Thank goodness. There's just too many people that just don't share that sentiment, and it bothers me.
Welcome back, Chant. We are, we have returned. I'm sorry that it took a little while, but, you know, some things needed to be stated.
Wait, did you not stream that?
Nope.
No.
What the fuck?
Josh is gonna go watch it later.
No, I just...
It's about 30 minutes of conversation.
Yeah, I apologize, chat, for the silence for all those 30 minutes, but some important stuff needed to be talked about.
Couldn't even have our conversation in there.
Just in the back.
Sorry, more like Michael and...
Yeah, but our conversations through a lot of speculation that the chat perhaps does not need.
All right.
Shit's fucked up. That's the long and short of it.
Don't worry, it's worse. Smile.
I'm not surprised.
Remember, if there's one takeaway from the conversation we had, it's that I better be hearing, Marth, I am your father.
You broke ass bitch with your yee ass haircuts.
I fucking hate him! Keen! I already hate him! Why are you making it worse? I already fucking can't stand this guy.
Let's go. All right.
You're like, yeah, no, let's just fucking make it even worse. I'm like, I get it! He's a piece of shit and we're gonna kill him! But like, can
Maybe if you got your money up and not your funny up.
Oh my god. Pivot, as you go to embrace your mother, you fade and form right back over to the party.
You're not streaming Dungeon Man?
What happened? Sorry?
on Discord.
Oh, got you. My bad. I forgot that it cuts it off. There you are.
I also turned the fan again, so let me know if you wind tunnel.
It'll be beautiful.
Alright, I'm not here. I'm poor.
And Soliet sees you appear once more in a very light, ethereal kind of breath that reforms your body as you are kind of in a hugging pose. You go to reach your hands forward, and it forms back into your body as if what was in front of you disappeared. Pivot.
Zoliot.
Yes.
Swear on her life, how much did you know? Or guess?
I could only ever speculate. I knew that those stones were of importance to her, but your mother never told me what they meant, what her intentions were, and why she did what she did. She always kept it to secrecy. I swear on my name.
She told me what you intend when you ascend.
Yes,
Is it true?
every word of it. The decision is yours to make.
Fucking acid in my mouth. But fine. I'll let you go.
She looks over to Marth, who looks over to you, Pivot, and he says, "Is that I trust your decision."
I'll explain more later. And I'm not so wired. But No. She doesn't need to die. Not now.
You are the luckiest son of a bitch. Let me tell you right now. So help me God, I wanna... If I wasn't being held right back right now, I'd probably beat you up right here, right now, but I stand by the decision of everyone else.
For Forbidden Soul.
And Alice's.
You'll see them again soon. I promise.
Not see them again. I want his soul.
I aura reader.
You aura read her, and from what you can see from Soliet, it's a very... let's see. After you have finally... Have you ever had an instance where you've lied to your parents?
Not very successfully, but yes.
Do you know how you felt once you lied to your parents and probably they found out?
Oh, yeah.
It's that feeling. It's that feeling of just knowing that you've done something wrong and finally having to clear the air. She knows that she is at the kind of the mercy of your judgment.
I slowly approach her. All those awful things you did. You will never do them again. Right.
If I'm to be honest, look down.
I look down.
And you feel a warm aura when she says the words, look down. I wouldn't even have the opportunity to. Not that I have the desire, mind you.
Okay.
Marth Silmance, this trial between Niall is between Niall and all Nickel creatures. Mortal creatures. I will not be able to assist you, nor will I be able to once I resurrect all the bodies that are within me. Tell them what to do. I have no say, I have no sway in such matters. Hence, why Forfoden risked everything just to assist you. It'll be up to you all to command them once they reawaken.
I try to summon Serviad.
You go to summon Serviad, and you cannot.
Pivot's gonna look at Thames. If Orphaden could be restored to true mortal life, would you prefer his soul remain with Soliet? Or would you rather he remain as a soul?
Would I prefer if he remained a soul or if he stayed with Soliet?
To be resurrected with Soliet. Mortal. Alive.
If she has no say over what he does, fine.
And she looks over to you, Thames, and states, I wouldn't have the simplest say in anything that he does. He would live his life as he had originally when he was a mortal being.
Would he remember his godhood?
He would remember everything.
Fine then.
Well, I'm happy we could all come to an agreement then. She drops her spell. A 5th level spell by the name of... Give me 1 second. By the name of...
Renee Rebirth?
Don't fuck us with this name.
Give me 1 second. I have to go to a certain doc.
If I was anybody but look down, I'd be calling bullshit all over all this, but I'm not. Please don't fuck me with this. I'm gonna be so mad if you fuck me with this.
A spell by the name of My Reform. The caster fires a burst of light in the air. All enemies must roll a will saving throw. This was happening while you were sleeping. If all units fail, then the entire round is spent in dialogue instead of fighting. Should the enemy units come to an agreement, a verbal agreement, instead of fighting, then double the experiences earned this fight. Otherwise, nothing will change. Congratulations.
Oh.
Holy shit.
She brings you... Let me get rid of the door. Right
My
back.
door.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Hillary.
Oh no.
She brings you back up to the... Oh, where is it? The ascending tower. Oh, you're already here. Very good. In which,
Now,
the...
before we go on,
Yes.
how many seconds have passed since everyone was
2 rounds
asleep?
of combat.
12 seconds.
I knew it.
So, the Greater Alexandrite Husk, we are going to actually get this combat out underway before they return, is going to use... Let's see... it's going to use... Yeah, it's going to use Fleshborn Sawsword. It's going to attempt to... Wait, no, you actually hid from it, so it can't see you.
Yeah.
It knows that you were here. Give me a... what was your roll altogether? It was a nat 20.
Nat 20 on stealth. That with the stealth modifier, that would be a 26.
Okay. It's going to attempt to... actually, it can't spot you as a negative modifier. So it can't find you. It is going to, sense that it was kind of in this direction that I got attacked. So it's going to move just out of your range here if you want attack of opportunity.
I do.
You gonna take the battle bus to Epinesis?
Oh, what's this thing doing here? Roll with advantage again, yeah?
Yes, yep.
Door open.
That is a dirty 20.
Oh, shoot. Definitely hits.
I hit it for 9 damage.
And, oh, shit. Wait, that's the wrong one. Here we go.
Your opponent is at your mercy. Choose their pitiful fate.
Right. So, now many important mechanics are going to be called into order. How do I perceive the thing's soul?
How do you perceive its soul? So, what you kind of perceive from attacking it, whatever means you wish to try to kill this creature, its soul protrudes from its body. It is sphere-like in nature. This one is pretty dark around the edges. It looks like it has a lot of scar tissue on it and a dark kind of trail. And as it tries to leave the body, it kind of bounces off against the dome and goes right back into its body. Not reviving it, but keeping it within inside the body itself.
Right. I feel a certain attachment to this Alexandrite husk. I feel like he's someone Slythe might know. But regardless, Slythe will do one thing and one thing only. He's going to tear that fucker's head off with his blade whip arm things, and as the soul leaves the body through the neck hole, he's going to chomp on it and swallow it, and then as the lifeless corpse, well, now properly lifeless corpse, drops to the ground, he's going to split it in half with the other 2 tendrils that he has.
Oh shoot, okay, let's go.
He's just going to stare. Did he feel the soul try and return to the dragon?
The soul originally tried to return to the dragon, but bounced off the dome, yes.
Yeah. As it... Well, what's it? As Slythe killed it, right before it actually... Well, yeah, when he saw it was starting to go towards the dragon, he immediately swallowed it, and he just looks at the dragon very angrily, and he just says, "Mine." And he starts again.
Beautiful. And the dome falls, and everyone wakes up from their dream.
I rolled an 11 on stealth.
Go to stealth again. Let's see. On return. Bro, I am an absolute legend of rolling nat ones today. Like, this is crazy. It rolls a nat 1, which altogether is an 11.
That is exactly as much as needed to see me. So she sees me glowering over the corpse of her, just covered in its juices or whatever was inside of that thing.
And she kind of just spots you hovering over this thing, laying into it, and she just looks back over to the party and she says, "Right, well, I suppose there's only one thing left to do then."
My eyes immediately lock on Forfeitin's body.
"You'll need to let me ascend first, and you all need to get out of here. I've never lied to you before. I've always come through on my promises, and I will again."
Slythe kind of just straightens up and just stares at the entire party. "What did I miss?" He says.
I look at Pivot and I say, "You sure about this?"
Yeah. It's a better outcome than just killing her. I think, on this point at least, she can be trusted.
I do not trust her. But I trust you enough for this.
Thank you. And she looks over to Marth Silmans and says, "Know that you did make the right decision. I'll be seeing you soon enough." And as these kind of seconds go by, a large... this eye that is sitting at the middle of the Reditho thread opens up, and she begins to ascend the staircase.
As she does that, Slythe is going to use one of the husk's limbs like a pointer. He's going to walk over to Marth as he watches the party let the dragon go. And he's just going to say, "What is happening? We were here to kill it. That is a monster that summons an undead horde and stole the continent's souls. And you are letting her leave?
Well, from a monster to a monster to a monster, I suppose we all have our faults, and while I can never forgive her, while none of us probably will be able to, she is working in our better interest.
How noble, I say with distaste.
Never claimed to be noble.
I hate nobles.
Hey now, come
I'm
on.
ready to mourn the way of Terlian, I say, and then I stare back at the dragon, and I say, take it from a soul-eating creature, Stillmans. That thing is a monster, and you may yet come to regret this decision.
I think we would have regretted this either way.
While this is all happening, I'm going to pick up RH Deliverance. I'm going to yell over to Max and say, get over here quickly.
Yep, okay.
I hand one of the, like, gigantic mauls to Look Down. I hand one to Maxwell, and I pick up two.
Look Down, give me a strength check really quick.
Oh my goodness, let's go. 24!
You grab a hold of the hammer just fine. Sorry, yeah, you grab a hold of the hammer just fine. Maxwell goes to grab a hold of the weapon, and it comes plummeting right back into the stone as he doesn't get a full grip of it. And he says, "Oh, sorry, that won't happen again. I just didn't get a good handle on it.
Drop it again. Maxwell, I say this with the most seriousness I've ever said. Drop it again and I will kill you.
Oh, fuck. No intimidation roll needed. Maxwell goes fully on the ground and grabs it in between both arms, wrapping it around his body, and he has like just a grip on it as he kind of just holds it completely just directly against his body.
It holds the spirit of my father.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep it safe. I'm sorry for dropping it. Go ahead, sorry.
But you tell the horde to stand down.
Worry not. They've already been told. And lo and behold, as she's ascending this tower, these Alexandrite husks begin to turn into lifeless bodies and drop to the ground as corpses.
Is there like a river of souls that floats through the
Yeah, that are like returning right back through and like towards Soliet past you.
Yeah, I eat one. I just like pop up, open my mouth like a shark jumping out of water and
Bobbing
munch one.
apples.
Soliet reaches about halfway up the staircase, and a figure shadow steps into the room. A man in a cloaked red hood.
This motherfucker.
And that is where we're going to end tonight's episode.
No!
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I appreciate it. I hope y'all have a lovely rest of your evening. And I will be seeing you all next Friday. Really excited. No.
No!
Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright. I will be seeing you all next Friday. I hope you all enjoyed the episode tonight. A lot of really fun and exciting things have happened. Solyet is now ascending to godhood. A mysterious red cloaked figure shadow steps into the arena itself, and who knows as to what they want from the party and as to what the party's response shall be towards them. You'll have to find out next Friday. Make sure to check out the sponsor, Starforge Systems. Get yourself a Starforge PC today. Right in the chat, you can open up the link there. Head right over. And I also want to thank Mr. Tori Kuno for providing all the tokens for today's session. If you wish to support me and Tori Kuno, you can do so from the Patreon, ! Patreon in the chat. But lastly, I just want to thank you all for coming in every single week and supporting us, hanging out with us, and indulging in the story as it unfolds. Have yourselves a lovely rest of your evening, and as always, stay beautiful, my friends. Bye-bye.